someone respond in the chat if you can hear me okay? Since I can't see you all, I will do my best to monitor the chat. If there are any questions or modifications that you might need that I haven't thrown out there, feel free to shoot me a private message or even just drop it in our general chat. Ooh, we got lots of people in here. Welcome, welcome. Cool, cool. All right, well, I'll give my hello from Chicago. My name is Alexis. I am the founder of Little Spaces Wellness and a Societyx partner here. I'm really excited to be offering this community yoga series every first Saturday of the month. This is our first class of the new year. So with that in mind, just honoring the themes of newness, fresh starts, regrouping. That's kind of the idea or intention for this year, really, but kicking off the new year. So with that in mind, we can go ahead and get started. Go ahead and find a comfortable seat on your mat. If you have a blanket or bolster, or maybe even a pillow, if you don't have a bolster with you wherever you are, feel free to grab those, bring them nearby. We will be seated pretty low. I'm actually going to adjust the height. Right. So the way that, thank you for the question, the way that Webinar Jam is, the only person that's really seen throughout the class is the instructor. So your cameras will be off and you will be muted. And if this is your first time using it, it can be weird, so I understand. All right, so go ahead and come to your comfortable seat. Oh no, now my head's cut off. I moved. Just put it back here. Having to readjust. All right, so we'll start by coming onto our backs. Tucking your tailbone under in a way that that lumbar spine can make a connection with the back. Sometimes that doesn't always happen. So if you can, grab your blanket, maybe rolled in half, and place it underneath the spine. If you need a little extra cushion to support neutralizing the spine. Your shoulder blades will be tucked underneath you, more or less, and your knees can stay bent with the feet kind of about as wide as the mat. And begin to soften the breath. Bringing the awareness into the body. Notice if you're storing any tension. If it's comfortable, close the eyes. And eventually invite deep inhales and soft and long exhales. You might notice the belly starts to rise, pressing out towards the ceiling on an inhale. And as you exhale, the spine softens down, the belly button draws in towards your spine. Invitation to bring the palms to the center, one at the heart, one on the belly. Just making a deeper connection with yourself. You can stay where you are. I'm just going to take a peek at the chat. And with your palms rested at your core, one at the heart, see if you can deepen the connection with your breath. Noticing the temperature within. Maybe you feel very warm in the heart space, or maybe you're cool. As you make these observations, you do so without judgment. It's really what this practice is about. Being observant, mindfully present, doing your best to eliminate any distractions. If you desire and it's comfortable, maybe you set your intention for your practice. If you also use affirmations, now's a good time to recite those as well. A gentle reminder, you know your body the best, and especially since we're practicing together but in a virtual space. Really honor your body. If you're experiencing any pain or discomfort in any posture, come out of it. On your next inhale, extend the arms above the head and lengthen the legs out long. I'll take my scarf off, I'm starting to warm up. So lengthening the arms above the head, the legs out long, taking a nice full stretch. Maybe you point and flex the toes. Maybe you roll circles with the wrists. Just explore the space, awakening the body. It's Saturday morning here. I know we're all in different places, so in different time zones. So just check in with what you're needing. Maybe it's early in the morning, you're slowly awakening the body to prepare for the day. Maybe it's midday, you need a little reset energetically. Invitation to windshield washer, the knees over to one side and then the other. And we're taking it at a nice gentle pace here, so whatever that means for you. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice and long. Observing how the breath feels on one side of the body in comparison to the other. So maybe you notice that your hips are a little tighter on the left side than they are the right. Coming back into center. You can keep the feet on the ground, the knees bent, or you can bring the knees in towards the chest. Bring the palms to rest on the knees or the shins. And just stay in stillness, or maybe you rock gently left and right, massaging the lower back. You can also draw circles in one direction. And then the other. Maybe close the eyes, reconnect with your intention. If you're moving, come back to stillness. If it's comfortable, you can extend both the legs into the air. You might have a soft bend in the knees. If you've practiced before, you know legs up the wall. So this is legs up the wall without the wall. So the arms can stay by your side, or maybe extend the arms out into a T shape, or even welcome a slight bend in the elbows, coming into goalposts. Invitation to point and flex the feet, or even draw circles. Allowing the breath to stay soft. And this might be challenging to your body today. So while we invite challenge, we don't want to become so frustrated or overwhelmed that we stop breathing. Invitation to draw circles if you haven't already. Put those ankles in one direction and then the other. Bringing the knees back into the chest. Maybe you give yourself a nice squeeze or a hug, knees towards the chest. You can also squeeze, draw the belly in, bringing the nose up towards it. As you exhale, lower down. Take a nice inhale. You can take the exhale down here or squeeze, bring the nose towards the knee. Inhale to expand. One more time. Exhale, draw the nose towards the knee. Inhale to expand. Extend those legs in the air once more, arms over the head. Exhale, bringing the knees back towards the chest. And then roll over to either side. Allow the knees to drop. Keeping the hips stacked, the knees stacked more or less on top of each other. Make a pillow with your head, resting your head on the bicep, if that's comfortable for you. And just take a few rounds of breath here. Maybe you close the eyes. Notice if you're clenching your teeth, locking the jaw. On your next inhale, gently press yourself up and away from the floor, coming into a tabletop position. So if you're on a hard surface, you can take your blanket, if you've got it, and fold it to have it out long. Bring the knees on top. Shift the weight forward, coming into a nice tabletop position. So the shoulders are stacked over the wrists. The tops of the feet are on the ground. Draw that lower belly in. So you engage the core, getting a deeper connection with your core. This supports having your balance. Then a nice neutral spine, gazing down towards the ground. Exhale out all the air you've got. And then on your inhale, drop the belly, gaze up. Lengthening throughout the front of the abdominals. Exhale, press away from the ground, draw the navel in, round the spine. Inhale whenever you're ready, gazing up. As you exhale, round through your spine, press away from the mat, draw the navel in. Inhale. Exhale. Continue with 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale as you press away. Last round. Exhale. Inhale, coming back into your neutral position, neutral tabletop. And on your exhale, make your way into a child's pose. I've got a question, so I'm going to take. Oh, take care. Thank you for joining. Sorry about that. Wishing you well. All right, so the rest of us, we are in a extended child's pose. So the toes might come towards the center, the knees wide. You send the hips back. Your arms can extend out long. If you've got a bolster or maybe even a pillow and you want a little extra support in your chest area, you can bring the chest to rest on the pillow or the bolster and maybe turn the cheek to rest. Got my AirPods in, so I won't do that because they'll fall out. And each exhale, you're going to try to send the hips back closer towards the heels. And you can make this as active or as restful as you like. Maybe you soften the bend in the elbows to rest the shoulders a little more. Maybe you find you want to move the bolster out the way, bring the head to the ground. If your mind begins to wander, reconnect with your intention. And your next inhale, slowly allow the chest to rise, the palms stay connected to the ground wherever they are. And then slowly walk the palms back closer towards the body, finding a nice connection with the ground. So you're going to keep the lower body where it's at. And as you inhale, rise up, shift the hips forward, bringing the gaze down towards the ground. And exhale, send the hips back. If this is uncomfortable, you can come back into your tabletop and move through somewhere cat and cow, or or stay in your child's pose. But for those of us finding this flow here, you inhale as you rise and you exhale as you send the hips back towards the heels. One more round of breath. Meeting back in a tabletop, taking your time. So bring those knees back under the hips. Maybe you walk or pedal out the knees, shifting the hips to the left and the right. Honoring any snap, crackle, and pops that might happen. Maybe the hip pops, the wrists, the shoulders. And then if it's comfortable and you want, maybe you find some full body circles. Being mindful of how the wrists and the knees are feeling. And then if you're taking these circles, now's a good time to reverse your direction that you're leading with. Coming back into a neutral position. Shoulders stacked over the wrists again. From here, root down through your right knee And then extend your left leg out towards the left side of you. So if you take a peek at your right knee and your left toe, the first toe, you should kind of have a straight line that you can draw. And you can stay here, or you can press yourself up and you bring the palms to the wayside, and you can stay here. If you want a little more, you can root down through your right palm. So take a peek again. So the thumb of your left palm, your right palm, your right knee, and your left toe are in about a straight line. Then you extend the left arm into the air, coming into our gate variation. Depending on how you're feeling in your neck, you can find a twist gazing at the left thumb extended in the air, or simply gaze down towards the ground, or even out with a neutral neck gazing in front of you. Be careful not to collapse here. Stay lifted as best you can. Full rounds of breath. Really sending your breath to your left side body, inviting expansion here, getting into the psoas. You notice that your right wrist is starting to get a little achy. You can come to a fist just to bring the ground closer to you, or even if you have blocks, you can place them at whatever height works for you. So wherever you are coming out of this gate variation, so if you are in the full extent that we went today, slowly round through the spine, bringing the palms back to the ground. If your palms stayed on the ground, now's your time to move with us. Everyone, bring that left leg back, knee down, parallel to the right. Do what you need to do, find some organic movements. Maybe you shift the hips left and right again. Walk the knees out. Invitation to come into a child's pose, which is often seen as a rest, a moment to reconnect. Do whatever you need to do to prepare yourself for the other side. And then whenever you're ready, from a tabletop, extend the opposite or right leg out and take a peek. So your left knee is more or less in line with that right big toe. And you can stay here. This might be enough for you. Or you press yourself up, bring the palms to the side body, and we stay here. Or you root down through that left palm, find that alignment, and then find the hand variation. That right arm is extended in the air. Maybe it stays at the side. Your gaze is in the air, out in front of you, or down towards the ground. Or maybe you close the eyes. Invitation to also try something different on this side. Making sure you don't collapse in that left shoulder. Stay lifted. Send the breath to the right side body. And we're going to slowly make our way out of this. So if you're in our full extent with that arm extended, rooted down through the left, slowly round through the spine. Walk the arms, the palms out in front of you. And then once everyone's palms are on the ground, shoulders stacked over the wrists, slowly bring that extended leg back in. Again, do what you need to do. Maybe you pedal out the knees or walk it out. And then from there, everyone make your way back into our child's pose. So another variation, if you don't want extended child's pose, the legs can stay together, the knees can go wide. looks like I might have another question. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty small in here. Sorry about that. Let's see, bringing it lower might be better. Webinar Jam is a little different from Zoom and other technologies. All right. For some reason, it makes us like really small when we get into a group. So in our child's pose, you'll send the hips back, arms out long, the forehead to the ground, if you like. And since we've been here a couple of times, maybe you want to get into the side body a little more. So you walk the fingertips off towards the left side of the mat, bringing the gaze towards the fingertips or maybe down towards the ground. And notice how you're feeling on the side, your right side. If you want a deeper stretch, you can take the right palm and place it on top of the left. At any point this becomes too much, you can walk yourself back to the center. Taking your time on an inhale, walk yourself back through the center if you haven't already. And then fingertips off towards the opposite side or right side. Immediately observe any feedback you might be receiving. Notice how it feels. If you want a deeper stretch, you can take that left palm, place it on top of the right palm. On your next inhale, rise up, come back to the center, make your way back into your tabletop. And then we're going to come into a hero variation. So I'll turn to the side. So if you've got your blanket, you can still keep the knees on top of the blanket. You can also use your bolster or pillow. So what happens is we come into a seat and we rest our hips or backside on our heels. If your knees are really sensitive or you don't have that flexibility or mobility in you at this moment, you can bring some support. So placing a bolster or a pillow or even a blanket between the buttocks and the backs of the legs, adding a little height. You can bring the palms to rest on top of the thighs, or maybe you come one palm at the heart, one at the belly, like when we first started. This allows us to kind of stretch the front of the ankles a bit more. See if you can take 2 more breaths here. And from there, make your way back into your tabletop, move your prop or support out the way. And from your tabletop, you're going to make your way all the way down to the ground. So starting in a nice tabletop, walk the legs back a little further, and then send the thighs down, the hips down, and then melt the upper body down. So go ahead and make a nice cushion or the head. So you bring the palms to rest one on top of the other. Notice your breathing. If your mind started to wander, reconnect with your intention. From here, we're going to come into a sphinx. So I'm going to turn just so you can see my front of my body. So what happens here is our legs stay extended behind us, tops of the feet on the ground, and then bring your shoulders by the sides of your chest, about shoulder distance apart, your elbows, about shoulder distance apart, and your shoulders are stacked over the elbows. The palms are pressing gently into the ground, and you're finding a slight gentle back bend. The glutes are softened here. Just notice how you're feeling. Maybe you close the eyes. If you want a little more deeper stretch, you feel up to it. Turn the fingertips out so the elbows stay inward towards the body, and then press into the ground to lift the chest a little more. Stretching your abdomen a bit deeper. And then as you exhale, bring the elbows back down. Bring the palms parallel to each other once more. Take a full breath here. And then exhale, return the forehead down to the ground, making a pillow. If you had a twist in the neck, maybe you turn the other cheek. Bringing the gaze to the other side of the room. You can also close the eyes. From here, coming back to the center. Bring the palms to the side of the body. And then on an inhale, press yourself up and away, coming back into your tabletop. And from your tabletop, you can swing the legs over to any side to make your way back onto your buttocks. The feet flat on the ground, the palms on the outer part of the knees, and then just slowly lower the spine down long, keeping the legs where they are. Rotate the shoulder blades underneath you just to create more space in the neck area, between the neck, the chin, and the shoulders. Palms facing upwards. And then from here, walk the feet, the heels a little closer towards the glutes. And then heel toe the feet together, the bottoms of the feet connect, the knees open to the left and the right. Coming into a reclined round angle. And if this is too much for you, you can do one leg at a time. Extending one leg out long and having one knee bent. We're here for a few rounds of breath. So allow the hips to naturally open. If you want a little more pressure, you can bring the palms to rest on top, gently on top of the thighs. Your legs might start to shake. Take 3 more breaths here. And then slowly allow the palms to connect to the outer part of the thighs, close toward the knees, squeezing the thighs together, the knees together. From here, you can bring the knees in towards the chest to give yourself a hug again. You can stay in stillness, or maybe you want to massage the spine some more, rocking left and right. Invitation to draw circles again, in one direction and then the other. And from there, coming back into stillness, extend the left leg out long, bringing the right knee in towards the chest. So you can keep both palms on the right knee or bring the left palm to rest on top of the left thigh and use the right palm to press the right knee closer towards the chest. If you're up for a little more movement, you can draw some circles in one direction with that right knee. And then reverse the circles. Coming back into stillness. If it's within your reach, you can come into a half happy baby or stirrup. So you take your right palm, reach for the right foot, bringing that right foot, the bottom of the foot parallel to the ceiling. The knee, that right knee, is kind of hugging or kissing the back of the right arm, parallel to the ground. This is very intense. If your reach isn't on your foot, you can also still bend the knee, flex the foot, and allow the palm to rest on the back of the thigh. And again, this is optional. You're more than welcome to keep that foot down and the knee just towards the chest. We're continuing with your hip circles. On your next exhale, if you're in that half happy baby, release the palm, release the grip on the foot or the thigh, bring that knee back in towards the chest. And then exhale, extend that leg out long. Notice how you're feeling in that front hip crease. The left leg might feel a little shorter, a little tighter than that right leg. Take a full inhale and then exhale, squeeze. Bring that knee towards the chest. Stay where you are. Take a peek at the chest. So cool. With that left knee in towards the chest. Each exhale, see if you can get a little closer. You can also bring or release that right palm and place it on that right thigh. If you want, we can draw some circles. You can also release the palm to feel a little more freely, or move a little more freely in one direction and then the other. Being mindful not to force anything. Maybe your circles feel a little different on this side because the hip is a little tighter. It's all good. Bringing that knee back in towards the chest one more time before we come into our half happy baby or stirrup posture. From there, use your left palm to reach for the foot. You might notice the core becomes a little more engaged as you lift subtly. That knee on the outer side of that arm parallel to the ground, the bottom of the foot parallel to the ceiling. Again, this is totally optional. And keep that knee simply towards the chest. Notice if you're scrunching in your teeth, scrunching in your third eye space, wrinkling the eyebrows together. Keep your face soft. So if that means coming out of a posture, releasing any grip you have, so be it. If you're in your half happy baby or stirrup posture, release the grip on the foot, the thigh, wherever it is, bringing that knee back in towards the chest one more time. And then extend the left leg out long. You should feel a little more balanced here. Maybe you wiggle the legs, rocking the toes towards each other. Maybe you pitter patter the legs, bouncing up and down. Just find what you need, do what you need. And then come into stillness eventually. Inhale the arms above the head. Take a full morning stretch. And then from there, slide the heels back towards the hips, knees bent. So have your feet about hip distance apart, more or less. And then from there, press the palms into the ground. If your arms are over your head, bring them back. Down by the side body, coming into a bridge. As you inhale, press into your feet. It's like you're sending your toes towards the edge of the mat, lifting the hips. A nice gentle bridge, right? So gotta go full throttle, glute engagement. If you want, you can though. It's a subtle engagement on the thighs and the glutes. You can stay here in a static hold, or you can inhale to rise and then exhale to lower if you want a little more movement. Inhale as you rise, exhale to lower. If you're in that static hold, really engage the full body. So staying rooted through the palms if the palms are on the ground, welcoming that core engagement, keeping the hips lifted. You might notice though, the longer you stay here, the more active or engaged the glutes become so that you can stay lifted. This might be a little more challenging. As you exhale, if you're lifted, lower back down. Walk the feet about as wide as the mat and allow the knees to fall inward. You can bring the arms above the head, elbows bent. Goalpost arms. Heel toe the feet back, parallel to one another, hip distance apart. Stay rooted down through your left foot. Bring that right ankle over the left knee. You can stay here for your figure four. This is a deep enough stretch in the outer part of the right hip. Or you can press your left foot away from the ground. Take your palms, wrap it around that left thigh, the back of the left thigh, and thread the needle. Using the energy of the legs to squeeze and bring those knees closer towards the chest. This might be too intense for you today, not your jam. It's all good. Whenever you want, you need, you can bring that left foot back down towards the ground.
here for 3 to 4 more breaths, wherever you are. And then if you've got your knees in the air, return that left foot back down. Return that right foot back to the ground. You can allow the knees to drop over to the right side for a breath, and then the left for a breath. And from there, we're going to move on to the same sequence on the opposite side. So, right foot rooted down to the ground, left ankle on top of the right thigh. Immediately notice how this side of your body is feeling. You can stay here, or you can thread the needle. So, bring the palms to the right side, the right thigh, bringing the knees close towards the chest. Lengthen the spine, draw the chin down towards the chest. Notice if you're flexing, you're bending in the ankle or the neck. On your next exhale, if your knees are towards the chest, lower that right foot back down towards the ground. Return the left foot back towards the ground. Allow the knees to drop to the left for a breath or so, and then over to the right. Coming back towards the center, bringing the knees back in towards the chest. Invitation to take a full happy baby here before we go into our last posture of the practice. So for happy baby, you can reach towards the outer parts of both of your feet. This might feel a little more intense than you desire, so you don't have to take it. You can keep your knees together towards the chest. If you are in happy baby, you can stay in stillness, or maybe you rock left and right, extending one leg and the other. Maybe you allow the body to really roll over to one side, and you pick yourself up, if you can, roll over to the other side. It's totally up to you. Explore the space, just enjoying this blissful baby. If you've got any other posture that's within your practice that you feel you need to do before we enter our final rest, go for it. Maybe you take a shoulder stand, mini shoulder stand, a plow. And then slowly transition into Shavasana. So maybe you use your bolster, your pillow, whatever you've got as a prop to support you. Legs extended out long. Shoulder blades tucked underneath you. If you've got a blanket, you can use it as a pillow under the neck or even on top of you for a little warmth and even a little weight, a little pressure. Tuck the shoulder blades beneath you if you can. Draw the chin down towards the chest. The palms face upward. And just take the next few minutes to be
start to slowly bring the awareness back into the body, welcoming small, subtle movements into the fingers and the toes. Maybe you use the thumb finger to slide it across the other finger pads and nail beds.
If you've got any props on the body, now's a good time to move them away. Come into a full body stretch if you desire. And take at least one full breath there. Before coming into fetal position, onto either side, your left or your right. Taking a moment to rest in fetal position. Slowly transitioning out of your practice. There's no rush. You can keep the eyes closed. Or they can come open as you press yourself up, coming into a comfortable seat. Bringing the palms at the heart space. I see my head is cut off. I'm sorry about that. Taking a full breath here. Extending gratitude to yourself for honoring your intention, returning to the mat, and also sharing virtual community space with everyone here on this call. As we close, I'd like to share it's been an honor and a pleasure to share space with you. It is my hope and prayer that in the days to come, each of you gets what it is you desire without causing harm to yourself or others. I bow to you in love and light. Until we meet again, take care. Sorry about the angle, everyone. If you all have any questions or need to or want to say anything in the chat, feel free to do so, and then we'll hop off in a second. Thank you so much. Oh, I do have virtuals available as well on Societyx if any of you all are interested in booking that. You can find that information on the website. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. If anyone also wants to come off of mute, you can request to speak. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, awesome. Yes, looking forward to it. I promise the view will be better because we won't use Webinar Jam for the privates. Awesome. Thank you so much. Awesome. Love to hear it. Oh, welcome. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh, thank you for the feedback too, everyone. It's very helpful. Oh, wow. From the UK. We've got the UK in here. We've got Atlanta. We've got Ohio. Albany, New York. Another New York. I'm skimming the chat as well. Alabama, Boston, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, the Netherlands. Awesome. Yes, go for it, Devin. Yep.
I'll also type my email in the chat for everyone. If you have issues booking on the society website, you can just shoot me an email and we can figure it out together for the privates. It's okay. If you want to just shoot me an email, so copy and paste that, and I can help you with that. It can be confusing. So I just put my business email in there, and then if you all are on Instagram, you can also follow me on Instagram too, at Little Spaces Wellness. So, are there any other questions or share outs? Oh, Oakland, California, Maryland. Awesome. The Bronx, DC. Well, all right. I will end the call now. Thank you so much, everybody. For those of you interested in a private, feel free to reach out. My email is in the chat. Instagram is at Little Spaces Wellness. So, oh, nice. Oh, wow. Yeah. I see folks are still using the chat, so that's great. All right. Well, take care, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.